everyone. Hi girls. Today we're talking about the Bornean orangutan, which is critically endangered, if you can believe it. Um, Critically endangered means that the International Union for Conservation of Nature, or the IUCN for short, they do the IUCN Red List. I think we're familiar. That means that Union for Conservation of Nature has categorized the species as facing an extremely high risk of going extinct in the wild, which means like without any human intervention. And I chose the orangutan because even though I have no evidence to support this, I think that they're the closest thing to humans. I think they're wise and we just don't know it. I think we have a lot to learn from animals, period. End of sentence. Um, no. Okay, so this is where they're from, the island of Borneo. It's in Indonesia, South Asia. Um, so yeah, this is where they're from. This area is rich in low-lying rainforest, which is their main habitat. And of three recognized subspecies, the Northwest Borneo orangutan are the most threatened. And this is because their specific area of the island is heavily impacted by logging and hunting. So only 1,500 Northwest Borneo orangutans remain there today. And the most abundant subspecies are the Central Borneo orangutans with a population of around 35,000. So in comparison, you can see the Northwest Borneo orangutans are not really doing well. So the ecological impact of these guys, what do they do? Orangutans have an important role in their habitat as seed dispersers. Um, when it comes to their diet, they're essentially like generalists. So they'll eat basically anything, a lot of fruit. Um, and over 500 plant species have actually been recorded in the orangutan's diet. And in these tropical rainforests, there are obviously like a lot of seed dispersing animals, but orangutans have like a really wide range where they'll travel around, whereas a lot of other species stay within like certain areas. So obviously these ones are important. Human impacts is where it gets sad. Human activities are actually the main cause of the decline in the orangutan populations. Orangutans are hunted by illegal wildlife traders looking to sell them as pets, which is super disturbing. As many as 200 to 500 orangutans from Borneo are documented in the illegal pet trade each year. And when orangutans are not kidnapped from their habitat, they still face the consequences of human impacts, being logging, as you can see here, and as we talked about before. Logging is often unsustainable and illegal, and it occurs in rainforests to make room for agriculture. This obviously leads to like a decrease in habitat size for orangutans, as well as a major disturbance in the ecological balance. Because I mean, if they're logging and they're taking away all these like fruit trees and food sources for orangutans, that messes everything up. Um, and another sad thing is that when orangutans wander onto these like farms or these plantations, these agricultural areas, they're usually shot because these people like don't really know how to handle them properly. So it's kind of crazy. But in better news, conservation efforts, the World Wildlife Fund has done a lot in regard to protecting the Bornean orangutan. They've worked with certified loggers to ensure that in the event of logging, fruit trees are left to orangutans to eat from, because it's actually been shown that orangutans are pretty good at like surviving in logged areas. They just need stuff to eat. So leave stuff for them to eat. Um, the WWF has also worked with local governments and plantations to ensure protection and plans for dealing with orangutans in the event that they wander onto these plantations. Um, and another group, the Orangutan Project, pictured here, gorgeous, um, they expose illegal activities in the wildlife pet trade and in the logging industry, which obviously are both sectors that affect the orangutans. They also operate an orangutan rescue and rehab center for displaced or injured or otherwise in need of care orangutans. As you can see here, it's a little baby, very cute. Um, and this is interesting orangutan news. I saw this, also made me interested in this species. This is an orangutan in Indonesia. His name's Ruckus, I think is how you say it. Um, and he has this wound on his face, and he was recently seen putting a medicinal plant on his wound. He like chewed it up and then put the juice on it and then put the chewed plant leaves on it and did this like a few times throughout like the course of a few days. Um, and this is a plant that like we know to have medicinal properties, but like how would animals know that? I don't know. Um, but this is actually the first time we've seen a wild animal actively treat a wound with medicine. And researchers know this was intentional on the orangutan's part because they commonly don't eat that plant or use it like for anything. So I think that's really cool. And that goes to show they are wise and we have things to learn from animals. Um, these are my sources. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope all your finals are going well, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Hearts, everybody.